This week, a question. How do you switch to renewable energy when the sun's down for half the year? We go off-grid in the Arctic to find out.
Solar could be a very good thing for the summer part of the year, and then you would need something else for the rest of the year.
Is this me? I'm doing this.
Paul's checking out a new technology that could make old diesel machinery cleaner and greener.
Oh, I wonder what type of diesel engine he decided to try out.
Yes, it's a complete mystery you'll never guess.
And we're pulling away, and as you will have seen, no emissions coming from the exhaust.
Now, how would you like to meet one of the most popular and highest earning Instagram models?
Well, you can't because she doesn't exist, but we go behind the scenes with the team that created her.
And what's this? Lara checking out her health? Surely not.
I certainly am.
Honestly, I'm worn out just watching you. Does that count as exercise?
No.
The United Nations Annual Climate Change Conference is the world's highest decision-making body on climate issues. This year, it takes place in Baku, in Azerbaijan.
The goal is for world leaders to gather and work together on solutions to tackle climate change, limit emissions, and protect the environment.
And with global temperatures hitting record highs and extreme weather events affecting people around the globe, this year's conference will be keenly watched for big decisions and high-level agreements.
But all over the world, there are people, businesses and organisations trying to make their own contribution. And Adrienne Murray has been to the Arctic Circle to find out how a community in Svalbard is trying to shift to clean energy.
High inside the Arctic Circle, the archipelago of Svalbard sits on the frontier of climate change. It's one of the fastest warming places on Earth. Yet, for most of its history, it's depended on coal for energy and jobs. This mine, Norway's last, will now close next year. And this Arctic community is shifting to a more climate-friendly future. Ditching coal was the first step, and this power plant switched fully to diesel last year.
When we run the diesel, it's almost half the CO2 emissions. That's including the exploration and production and the refinery and the transport up here.
It's still a fossil fuel, so why do that?
Diesel will be an interim period, just a step on the way towards more greener fuel.
They hope to tap future fuels like green ammonia or methanol.
This is a complete off-grid situation. The wind doesn't blow all the time. The sun is gone for half the year. So we need something in the background which can secure supply even in the darkest and coldest winter nights.
To help stabilise power, they've installed one of Europe's biggest batteries.
Here we have 4 battery packages. They are controlling the voltage and the frequency of the distribution network.
It also serves as a backup.
You can store energy at night and you can use it during the day. All the diesel generators are off. We can run the whole city with the batteries for quite some time.
Closer to the North Pole than the mainland, the remote town of Longyearbyen isn't connected to Norway's grid, making the move to cleaner energy much more challenging. But researchers are exploring ways to cut out diesel.
This far north, conditions can be extreme, and so scientists here are testing how solar performs high up in the Arctic.
Out here, it's not just the elements we have to prepare for, it's also the wildlife.
We are trying to study the potential of solar in the Arctic and document how much solar energy we can produce in order to perform an energy transition.
They're doing that with the help of this guy, who looks kind of familiar.
The name of this device is R2D2, and it's basically a multi-phase solar panel rig. So I'm basically collecting the data. We heard the clicking here. I'm collecting the power production of each phase of R2D2 here.
For half of the year, Svalbard is plunged into darkness, so using solar may sound like a weird idea, but for the rest of the calendar, there's round-the-clock daylight.
One main aspect of solar energy in the Arctic is that we can only have it during spring and summertime. And a surprising fact was that we get a lot of solar energy in spring due to the snow reflection and the cold temperature.
In town, some businesses are already turning to solar, and that's helped this store save lots of energy running its power-hungry fridges and freezers.
We produce almost 23% of all the energy we use, so we save a lot of money, so we don't have to buy all the power. We get the most power from around April until August when the sun's up, and then it's up 24/7 almost.
This century-old station houses critical communications equipment. It's also a research site, testing off-grid energy. One of the world's northernmost solar parks is found here. Also a battery system and other technologies.
This is our energy transition pilot facility.
And it's all monitored remotely.
Here we can see, for instance, how much solar energy we have produced. And as you can see, they've just been operating a few hours throughout the day. So it's mostly solar energy that's been providing the station for the last 24 hours.
They plan to adopt a similar off-grid system in Longyearbyen, but on a bigger scale.
So now we are running on diesel. We are looking into what could come after that. Solar could be a very good thing for the summer part of the year, and then you would need something else for the rest of the year. It's about choosing a hybrid system combining different energy technologies.
And there lies the big challenge. Scientists are also exploring how well wind works in extreme cold. And here they're testing geothermal.
We have a thinner crust of the Earth here, so it's actually not that far down to get the warm temperatures in the ground. For us, heat is the energy we need the most. We use 3 times as much heat and electricity in the town.
For the many Arctic communities living off-grid, the work here might help them cut down on fossil fuels and move to a more climate-friendly future.
Rail is often billed as the greener way to travel. In the UK, only 38% of the rail network is electrified, meaning passenger and freight trains are still contributing CO2 emissions, although lower than other modes of transport. But now, a new technology has been developed that can not only make diesel engines more efficient, it could help make dirty trains much cleaner. And I went along to Harry Needle Railroad Company's train yard in Worksop to find out more. Advanced Hydrogen Technologies' engine carbon clean system combines hydrogen generation with carbon capture and can be fitted to anything with an engine, not just trains. It uses electrolysis to turn ordinary water into oxygen and hydrogen, which is then pushed through the engine to remove carbon residue that has built up over time.
Explain this to me like I'm 5. So this unit that we're looking at here has a diesel engine.
Correct.
And it runs on diesel as normal.
Correct.
What does this device do to that diesel engine?
Okay, so this is a 1962 Class 08 locomotive, and as you can imagine, the diesel that's been pumping through there for many, many, many years has built carbon up inside the engine, so the efficiency of the engine is very much decreased. So what this system does is it pumps the hydrogen through the air intake and it goes through the whole engine, and what it does is it knocks or blows the carbon out, which then goes out through the exhaust, and that takes it back to where it was when it was built back in the 60s. So the efficiency comes back, the carbon emissions is massively reduced because after a few months with our system on there, the carbon build-up is almost gone.
So just to give you a visual representation of what this looks like, these pistons here are typically what's used on a train unit, and you can see from the top here, this black all around here is actually carbon build-up. It's quite mucky, as you can tell. Whereas if we move to this one, this is what it would actually look like once it's been through a system and it's been cleaned, and it's actually clean to the touch. Well, I'm still dirty from the other one, but it's clean to the touch. It's quite a remarkable difference.
Although primarily for increasing efficiency, Testing has showed the use of the system also significantly cuts emissions. On a diesel shunter like this one, it reduced 27% of carbon monoxide, CO2 by 8%, and formaldehyde by 39%.
There was a demonstrator day in April where we witnessed the AHT kit on this shunter. There was no visible emissions. So that's how we got interested in the product in the first place. What we're looking at is the kind of gap in the next 5 to 10 years between 100% diesel and zero emissions, and just coming away from 100%. So can we get it down to 90%? Can we get it down to 80% with something that's viable for the actual train operator to buy, save their money, reduce their emissions, and that's the perfect scenario, really.
For companies maintaining our railway infrastructure, this new technology helps them to increase the working life of older machinery.
The opportunity to use the technology that AHT bring allows us to unlock older assets in a modern environment where we need to concentrate on our emissions and act responsibly. So effectively using a 60-year-old bit of kit in a modern way without having to do lots and lots of expensive re-engineering and fit expensive equipment. It's a cost-effective way of giving us an opportunity.
People watching might be quite surprised that we're still using 60-year-old trains. I mean, wouldn't the answer be to perhaps get newer trains rather than use technology like this?
Yeah, I think, well, part of being sustainable is reusing, isn't it? So if you can say that you're reusing a 60-year-old asset responsibly by cleaning it up a little bit and using new cutting-edge technology, I think that's a good way of being able to be more sustainable rather than having to start from scratch and put something on paper, go through research and development and not know what the outcome's going to be. So this represents a good off-the-shelf option for us to be able to be more responsible.
When you're ready for me, if you'd like to start to step back.
And naturally, I couldn't come to a train yard and not take this cleaner bit of kit out for a spin myself.
Is this me? I'm doing this. And we're pulling away, and as you will have seen, no emissions coming from the exhaust. And I'm driving a train into a shed.
Obviously, the ultimate aim is to remove carbon emissions from our railways altogether. And already, trains are operating in the UK and Europe using a variety of alternative energy sources, including hydrogen. But while technology catches up and diesel trains remain on our tracks, the most abundant element on Earth might just be making the air we breathe a little bit cleaner.